My brothers and sisters, listen to me with great care. My name is Kwabena. I was born and raised in a small community in the Ashanti region of Ghana. I want to ask you something that may change the way you see your home from this moment forward. Did you know there may be something quietly present in your living space right now? Something silently working against your life without your awareness? It is an object that entered your home, disguised as a gesture of friendship, a warm expression of care, or an entirely innocent-looking gift. But from the very moment it crossed your threshold, it began operating against you, emitting a continuous stream of negative frequencies, attracting illness, conflict, financial blockage, and placing invisible barriers around every effort you are making. And the most devastating part is that the object is still there right now, sitting peacefully on your shelf, suspended on your wall, or resting on your bedside table, quietly draining your life force and holding open a door to invisible forces you cannot perceive with natural eyes. Today, I will reveal to you the 10 most dangerous objects you should never accept as gifts. I will walk you through exactly how to identify whether something in your home has been charged with dark energy. And by the time this video ends, you will have a specific practical ritual to neutralize and remove those objects before the damage they are causing becomes irreversible. But I need you to stay with me until the very final moment, because at the 12-minute mark, I will reveal the single most dangerous object found in 90% of homes. It is the most powerful gateway to spiritual curses that exists. If you leave before that point, you may miss knowledge that genuinely has the power to change the trajectory of your life. Before we continue, I need you to do something important right now. Go to the comments section and write, "I reject all dark energy disguised as gifts." When you write those words, you are making a powerful protective declaration. You are sealing shut the energetic doors that others have deliberately opened in your life. Do that right now. I will wait. And if you have not yet subscribed to this channel, subscribe immediately, because here we share ancestral wisdom that can guard you from attacks you do not even see approaching. Like this video, because this knowledge needs to reach more people. Share it with someone you care about, because you may be rescuing them from a situation they have not yet recognized. Now let us go deep into what you need to understand in order to protect yourself and everyone under your roof. Why do gifted objects become spiritual weapons? Let me explain something that our grandmothers once understood clearly, but that most of us have forgotten entirely. Objects are not simply inert physical things. They can be programmed, charged with intention, and transformed into antennas that emit negative frequencies continuously. When someone who is trained in dark spiritual arts, in the hidden sciences of shadow work, in the manipulation of energy fields, decides to weaponize an object, that object becomes one of the most effective instruments for causing sustained spiritual harm. Why? Because placing a curse on someone is far more efficient when you have a physical device operating around the clock inside their living space. Rather than attempting to send energetic attacks from a distance, the object functions as a perpetual transmitter, an antenna that never stops broadcasting. It is present while you sleep, while you eat, while you relax and recover. It continuously emits the frequency it was programmed to carry. And as long as you have not identified and removed it, the damage accumulates steadily, seeping deeper into your life and affecting everyone in your household. The most calculated aspect of this method is that the person receiving the gift has absolutely no idea. They accept it with genuine gratitude, with pure innocence, believing it to be a beautiful expression of care. They place it in the living room, the bedroom, or the kitchen, and from that moment, the silent destruction begins. Those who practice dark spiritual arts understand this well. It is precisely why they favor this approach. You voluntarily bring the object into your home. You welcome it. You place it in the spaces where you spend the most time. Now listen carefully, because what I am about to share will demonstrate that this is not empty speculation, but living reality. Here are the 10 most dangerous objects you should never accept as gifts. Object number 1, small statues or decorative figurines, especially those representing human or animal forms. These are extraordinarily dangerous because they can be charged with entities, with spirits carrying specific harmful intentions. Human figurines in particular can be used as spiritual gateways, representing the person the practitioner wants to target. Every time you look at that figure, every time you pass by it, the energetic connection is activated. If someone gives you a small statue, especially one with an unclear origin, a strange appearance, or one that comes from someone you are not genuinely close to, remove it immediately, regardless of how beautiful it appears, regardless of its monetary value. Object number 2, gifted mirrors. Mirrors are regarded as portals in virtually every mystical tradition across the world. They can capture and reflect not only your physical image, but your energy field, your deepest spiritual essence. A mirror can be programmed to continuously return your own distorted energy back to you, creating a self-destructive loop from which you cannot easily break free. They can also function as windows through which the person who gave them observes your life force, your home, and every movement within it. Never accept a mirror from someone you do not trust completely. Object number 3, dried plants or flowers, especially in elaborate arrangements or in the form of wreaths. Dried plants represent concluded life, stagnant energy, and death wearing a decorative costume. In dark spiritual practice, charging dried flowers with harmful intention is extremely common, because dead plant matter functions as the ideal container for decaying, declining, and terminating energy. If someone presents you with a dried flower arrangement, especially in dark colors such as black, deep purple, dark red, or blood red, or in a circular form like a wreath, refuse it. Do not bring it into your home, and if you already have one, remove it today. Object number 4, previously worn jewelry or personal accessories, particularly necklaces, bracelets, and rings. Jewelry absorbs the energy of every person who has worn it over the years. It carries the complete energetic history of its previous owner. If you receive jewelry from someone whose life has been marked by tragedy, illness, or deep suffering, you are literally placing that accumulated energy directly onto your skin. And if the jewelry has been intentionally charged through ritual, the consequences can be devastating, because it is in direct contact with your body and your energy field, continuously drawing from your life force while draining you without pause. Only accept jewelry from people you know deeply and trust without reservation. Object number 5, pillows or any fabrics placed on a bed, gifted by someone whose intentions you are uncertain about. Listen to this with exceptional attention, because this is among the most dangerous situations. Your bed is your most sacred space. It is where you spend approximately 1/3 of your entire life in a state of complete vulnerability. When you sleep, your energetic defenses lower. You become open, receptive, and entirely unguarded. A negatively charged object on or near your bed can influence your dream state, generate persistent nightmares, and drain your life force while you sleep, without your being able to do anything to prevent it. I have personally witnessed cases where people accepted gifted pillows or blankets and began experiencing chronic insomnia, sleep paralysis, and night terrors that stopped immediately and completely the moment those objects were removed. Never permit fabrics of uncertain origin into your resting space. Object number 6, candles, particularly those with dark colors or unusual fragrances. Candles are powerful ritual instruments used in both light and shadow work. A candle can be prepared with corrupted oil, with harmful herbs, with dark intentions programmed directly into the wax itself. When you light a candle gifted by someone whose motives are questionable, you are activating and releasing everything embedded in it, dispersing that charged energy throughout your entire living space. If someone gives you candles and you feel any unease, if they carry an unpleasant or unfamiliar smell, if they are very dark in color, do not light them. Dispose of them immediately. Object number 7, paintings or artworks, particularly those featuring disturbing, sorrowful, or violent imagery. Visual imagery holds tremendous power over your psyche and your energy field. A painting is something you encounter multiple times every single day. Each time you look at it, you are receiving the frequency it carries. If that image has been charged with negativity, if it depicts death, suffering, despair, or destruction, you are effectively surrounding yourself with that dark frequency every waking hour. I have seen entire families descend into prolonged depression after hanging a gifted painting that carried deep grief energy. Trust your inner response completely. If a painting makes you feel heavy, sad, or anxious, do not hang it in your space, regardless of how refusal might appear socially. Your well-being is worth infinitely more than any social convention. Object number 8, dolls or antique toys, especially those that appear used or carry a troubled history. This is especially critical if you have young children in your home. Children are exceptionally sensitive to energetic disturbance. They can be affected far more severely than adults by what surrounds them. A doll can be used as a container for dark entities. It can carry the disturbed energy of previous owners. It may have been specifically prepared as a charged object. If your children begin having intense nightmares, displaying unusual behavior, or expressing unexplained fear after receiving a gifted toy, examine that toy immediately. And if your instincts signal something is wrong, remove it from your home that same night. Object number 9. Books, particularly those covering dark themes, negative mystical practices, or that produce a feeling of disturbance when you handle them. Books are containers of both information and energy. Written words carry genuine power. A book can introduce into your mental and spiritual field the ideas and energy it holds. If someone gives you a book dealing with dark rituals, destructive spiritual practices, or that generates an instinctive rejection in you when you touch it, do not read it and do not keep it in your home. Information entering your mind carries real energetic consequences and can open doors in your consciousness that are exceedingly difficult to close afterward. And object number 10, the most deceptive of all, amulets or charms of uncertain origin. Well-meaning but spiritually uninformed people frequently give objects they purchased at spiritual markets or from unreliable practitioners, believing them to be protective, when in reality they carry the opposite charge entirely. A genuinely protective object must come from a trustworthy spiritual source. It must be prepared with clear intentions aligned with light, and it must resonate positively in your hands when you hold it. If you receive an amulet from someone whose trustworthiness you question, and you begin experiencing difficulties after accepting it, dispose of it without hesitation. Now that you know the 10 most dangerous objects, I want you to pause for a moment. Look around your living space. Do you have any of these objects present? Can you remember who gave it to you? Can you remember when it entered your home? And can you identify whether your difficulties began or intensified around the time that object arrived? Sit with those questions, then return to the video, because now I will teach you exactly how to determine whether an object in your home carries a negative charge. Here are 5 unmistakable signs that an object has been charged with dark energy. Sign number 1, your own immediate response to the object. If it produces unexplained discomfort, if you find yourself preferring not to look at it, if you avoid the area where it is placed, if you feel repulsion without being able to name a reason, your intuition is sounding an alarm. Never suppress that response. Your body, your spirit, and your deeper awareness know how to detect energetic danger, even when your rational mind cannot articulate why. That discomfort is not random. It is your internal warning system functioning exactly as it should. Sign number 2. Problems in your life begin or intensify significantly after that object enters your home. If you can trace a clear timeline connecting the object's arrival to the emergence of misfortune, illness, conflict, or financial loss, that object is highly suspicious. Ask yourself, when precisely did this sequence of difficulty begin? What new thing entered my space around that time? Who gave it to me, and for what stated reason? If the answers do not align logically, if the person had no clear reason to give you anything, that is a significant warning. Sign number 3. Animals and children react negatively to the object. Animals possess far sharper energetic perception than adult humans. If your dog or cat consistently avoids a particular area of your home, growls near a specific object, or becomes agitated without visible cause, pay immediate attention. Children are also naturally sensitive in ways adults have been conditioned to suppress. If your child expresses fear of a certain doll, refuses to remain in a room where a particular object is placed, or has nightmares when sleeping near something specific, listen to them. Adults have often been taught to override their natural sensitivity. Animals and children retain it intact. They perceive what we have learned to dismiss. Sign number 4. The object exhibits unusual behavior. It moves from where you placed it. It falls without cause. It appears in locations where you did not leave it. This may sound extraordinary, but it occurs more frequently than most people realize. Objects charged strongly with entities or dense negative energy can produce physical activity because the energy they contain is seeking acknowledgement, pressing for your attention. If a gifted object displays this kind of behavior, it must be removed immediately using the ritual I'm about to share. Sign number 5. You experience specific negative phenomena only in the presence of that object. For example, if a certain painting is in your bedroom and nightmares occur only in that room, or if a particular figurine is in your living room and the most volatile arguments always erupt only in that space, that correlation is not coincidental, it is cause and effect. Test this by temporarily removing the object from the space and observing whether the phenomena cease. If the disturbance stops when the object is absent, you have your confirmation. That object must leave your home permanently. And now to the critical portion of this video. What to do once you have determined that a dangerous object is present in your home. Do not leave now, because what follows could protect your life and your family completely. Here is the exact ritual to safely remove a charged object. Follow every step with complete attention, because if this is done incorrectly, the situation could worsen. Done correctly, the damage can be entirely neutralized. First and most importantly, do not touch a suspected object with your bare hands. Use thick gloves, a cloth, or any physical barrier between your skin and the object. Direct contact can transfer some of the negative energy onto you. Step 1. Obtain a black fabric bag large enough to contain the object. Black fabric absorbs and contains negative energy, preventing it from dispersing through your home. If you do not have black fabric, use any dark and dense material. You will also need coarse sea salt, a substantial quantity, at minimum a full kilogram. Salt is the most powerful universal purifier known across virtually every ancient culture and spiritual tradition. Step 2. Choose a moment when you are alone or when everyone in the household can be present to participate. Before touching the object, stand before it and declare aloud with firmness and clarity, all negative power contained within this object is neutralized now by divine light. No dark energy can harm me or those I love. We are completely protected. This object is being removed and its influence ends completely here and now. So it is, and so it shall be. These words establish a protective boundary around you before you make contact with the object. Do not omit this step. Step 3. Using gloves or fabric wrapped around your hands, carefully take the object. Some charged objects may feel unusually heavy, warm, or simply disturbing to hold. This is the dense energy they carry making itself perceptible. Step 4. Place the object directly into the black fabric bag and cover it completely with all of your coarse salt. Bury the object inside the salt thoroughly. The salt will begin absorbing the negative charge immediately. You may sense the heavy energy beginning to dissipate as you do this. Step 5. Seal the bag securely so that nothing can escape from it. This sealed package must be removed from your home without delay. Do not leave it in your home even one more night. Not in the garage, not in the yard. It must leave your property entirely. Step 6. Take it yourself or entrust someone you trust completely to take it to one of these locations: an empty area of land far from your residence, a large public refuse container in another part of your city, or a flowing body of water where it can be released and carried away by the current. Never place a charged object in your own home's waste bin. Never bury it in your own garden. It must be removed completely from your territory. Step 7. If the object carries a particularly strong or disturbing charge, you may physically destroy it before disposal. Fragmenting and dispersing the energy it contains can be helpful, but do this carefully using tools rather than your hands directly. After destroying it, still wrap it in fabric with salt and remove it from your property as instructed. The process does not end with removal. After taking the charged object out of your home, you must cleanse the energy of the space where it resided, and in fact your entire home. Objects leave energetic residue and traces that require complete clearing. The most effective method is with the smoke of white sage or palo santo. Burn either of these and move the smoke through every corner of your home, paying particular attention to the area where the object was located. Declare aloud as you do, all negative residue is being cleansed completely now. All traces of darkness are being transformed into light. My home is sacred ground. Only what serves my highest good has permission to exist here. Open all windows as you do this. Allow fresh air to enter and all stagnant energy to exit. Let your home breathe freely again. After cleansing with smoke, sprinkle coarse salt into the corners of every room in your home. Leave it in place for a full 24 hours. The salt will continue drawing out any remaining negative residue clinging to walls, floors, and the atmosphere of your space. After 24 hours, sweep all the salt from inside your home, moving toward the exit. You are literally sweeping all remaining darkness out of your space. Collect that salt and dispose of it in a public waste bin, never your own. Finally, you must also cleanse yourself. You have been in proximity to that object's energy field, and you need to clear your own personal energy completely. Take a cleansing bath using sea salt. While bathing, visualize the water washing away every energetic connection between you and that charged object. See yourself completely clean, fully free, and entirely protected. And now the most important section of all, how to protect your home so this situation never recurs. Protection number 1. Keep coarse salt in the corners of your home permanently. Replace it every month. Collect the old salt and dispose of it outside your home. Then place fresh salt in every corner. Salt functions as a continuous purifier, absorbing any negativity attempting to enter your space. Protection number 2. Keep living plants in your home, particularly near entrances. Living plants naturally raise the energetic vibration of a space, absorb density, and cleanse the atmosphere continuously. They are powerful and living protective allies. Protection number 3. Develop the sacred practice of blessing everything that enters your home. When you receive any gift, before bringing it fully inside, hold it for a moment and say quietly or in your thoughts, if this object carries blessing, it is welcome here. If it carries anything contrary to my well-being, let it be neutralized now by divine light. This creates an energetic filter at your entrance through which only what aligns with your good can pass. Protection number 4. Trust your intuition completely and without apology. If something feels wrong, refuse it. You do not owe anyone a detailed explanation. You can simply say, "Thank you for your thought, but I prefer not to accept this." Your energetic health is worth infinitely more than any social discomfort. Protection number 5. Educate your family, especially your children, about accepting gifts from unfamiliar people or distant acquaintances without consulting you first. Children are frequently targeted precisely because they are more energetically open. Teach them without fear that some gifts may not be appropriate and that they should always bring anything they receive to you before bringing it into the home. Protection number 6. If you discover that a specific person has intentionally given you a negatively charged object, you must make a serious and immediate decision about that relationship. This individual has deliberately attempted to harm you. This is not a minor matter. You do not need to confront them directly. Confrontation may escalate the situation and create additional complications. But you must remove that person from your life entirely. Distance yourself. Remove them from your digital spaces. Do not respond to their contact. Protect yourself completely and without guilt. Final wisdom. Discernment without paranoia. I want to close this section with a truth that needs to settle deeply within you. We inhabit a world where not everything is as it presents itself, where hidden intentions exist, where people smile to your face while working against you in the shadows. This knowledge should not make you paranoid or cause you to distrust everyone around you, but it should develop in you a wise and measured discernment. There is an important distinction between naivety and caution. Naivety leaves you exposed. Caution makes you strong. The majority of gifts you receive throughout your life are given with genuine warmth and pure intention, but the few that are not can cause damage that is entirely disproportionate to their appearance. This is precisely why applying these filters, developing this sensitivity, and maintaining these protections is worth every effort. It is far better to occasionally decline a gift without a clear reason than to accept a single one that could alter the entire course of your life. I speak over you now a blessing of sharp discernment to identify what is authentic and what is wearing a disguise, with courage to refuse what does not resonate regardless of any social pressure, with divine protection over your home that automatically repels every dark influence. May your space be sacred and inviolable ground. May only what serves your highest good cross your threshold. May you live in deep peace, knowing that you are both protected and vigilant. Go back to the comments now and write, "My home is sacred ground protected from all darkness." That is your second protective declaration. And tell me in the comments, have you ever received a gift that produced immediate unease? Have you experienced unexplained difficulties after a specific object entered your home? Share your experience below, because your account may help others recognize the signs. We protect one another by sharing this ancestral knowledge. If this video opened your eyes and placed tools in your hands, like it now. Subscribe if you have not yet, and activate notifications. Share this with the people you love, with your family, your close friends, because this information may rescue someone from a danger they have not yet identified. In the next video, I will reveal 3 exact declarations that completely block any dark spiritual attack regardless of its intensity. These are words of ancestral authority that have protected entire generations. Do not miss it. I am speaking now from a position most people never encounter, a place concealed behind warm expressions, presented gifts, and the language of spiritual blessing. There is a world that operates quietly, patiently, and with great strategic precision, and its primary strength is concealment. In that world, nothing is random and nothing is given without attached intention. I understood early in my time inside those systems that the easiest path into someone's life is not through fear, but through familiarity. You do not attack openly, you offer. You do not threaten, you bless. You do not present as dark, you appear helpful, kind, spiritually aligned, and generous. Many items that look entirely harmless are carefully prepared vessels. Words are spoken over them. Assignments are attached to them. Permissions are coded into them. When the object changes hands, access changes hands. The moment it is accepted, a door is opened. The moment it is placed, that door is acknowledged. Most people believe that agreement or belief is required for any of this to be effective. That assumption is incorrect. These spiritual systems do not wait for the recipient's understanding or consent. They operate on the principles of contact, acceptance, and placement. Once an item enters your living space, it begins interacting with your atmosphere. It observes, reports back, influences, and in some cases drains. Some objects are designed to introduce confusion, others delay, others sickness, others division between people who are close. They may not even appear suspicious because the carriers themselves are often unaware of what they are carrying, deceived or manipulated into serving as delivery instruments. In these hidden systems, the most effective carriers are ordinary things: food prepared with specific intention, clothing given at significant moments, oils, soaps, fragrances, powders, books, spiritual items, souvenirs, figurines, rings, bracelets, shoes, even complimentary items distributed at gatherings. Nothing appears dangerous because that is precisely the design. If the object looked threatening, it would fail its entire assignment. This is why discernment matters far more than enthusiasm. People frequently ask why difficulties begin suddenly after receiving something: sudden emotional heaviness, disturbing dreams, unexplained anxiety, loss of peace, persistent fatigue, financial obstruction, recurring setbacks, relational conflict, spiritual dullness. These experiences are not always psychological in origin or coincidental in nature. Sometimes they are direct responses to something introduced into the living environment. In these systems, objects are used to establish what might be called legal ground, a presence that operates within the physical realm. They are placed, worn, ingested, or stored to maintain that presence. Once introduced, they do not rush, they wait, they observe patterns, they identify moments of vulnerability, emotional pain, grief, anger, loneliness. Timing is a fundamental element of the strategy. The danger of curiosity should be clearly understood. When people sense something is wrong, they frequently begin to analyze the object, keep it for further investigation, or test it rather than removing it decisively. That hesitation deepens the connection. Darkness is sustained and strengthened by delay. It does not require permanence, only ongoing permission extended over time. Another significant error is giving the item to someone else. Transferring an object does not cancel its assignment. It multiplies exposure and extends reach. In the systems I walked away from, disposal was treated with absolute seriousness. Nothing that was no longer needed was kept, and nothing was passed carelessly to another person. Separation was immediate and final. There is also a powerful emotional manipulation woven through these situations. Politeness, fear of causing offense, respect for elders, spiritual or religious pressure, and guilt are all routinely employed to keep people holding on to harmful objects. Many people remain bound not because they lack the power to act, but because they are held back by hesitation. Spiritual safety must be understood as more important than social comfort. What is genuinely aligned with light does not require secrecy, does not generate fear, and does not apply pressure. What is pure does not produce unrest. What comes from a place of genuine care does not confuse, monitor, or steal peace. People also consistently underestimate the power of the physical environment. Your home is not only a physical structure, it is a spiritual territory. What you permit inside participates in shaping the outcomes of your life. Objects carry histories. Some are tied to rituals, grief, death, jealousy, competition, or covenants established long before they reached you. When placed in your space, they begin to speak, even without sound. They align with whatever patterns are already present and amplify them. This is why two people can receive the same object and experience entirely different effects. Assignment responds to opportunity and existing vulnerability. The most effective response when something does not feel right is not debate, but removal. Not prayer spoken over the object, not investigation, not storage, separation. A clean and decisive break. Light does not negotiate with darkness, it displaces it. Many people attempt to fight spiritually while continuing to maintain physical gateways in their environment. This creates unnecessary and prolonged warfare. Wisdom avoids what warfare must later be deployed to confront. I am not speaking from a position of fear, but from knowledge acquired at genuine personal cost. I have observed how small, overlooked things grow into sustained long-term oppression. I have seen how families struggle across years because of a single item introduced during a season of vulnerability. I have seen how freedom becomes complicated because physical access points are still present while spiritual battle is being waged. True freedom is not only a matter of prayer, it is also a matter of boundaries. When you learn to genuinely value peace, clarity, and alignment, you become less impressionable by what is offered to you and more attentive to what it produces. Not everything given is meant to be received. Not every hand that extends an offering is operating from clean intention. Protection begins with awareness, continues through discernment, and is secured by decisive action. What you remove today may be precisely what your future has been waiting for you to address. I am speaking again from the same foundation of lived experience. Not theory, not rumor, but direct exposure to systems that sustain themselves through ignorance and unchallenged assumptions. One of the most pervasive lies people absorb is that genuine danger always announces itself clearly. In reality, the most effective traps are subtle, patient, and presented through familiarity. In the dark world, the measure of a successful operation is how undetected it remains. If an object generates immediate and obvious chaos, it has failed its long-term purpose. This is precisely why many items are designed to appear neutral or even spiritually positive. They integrate seamlessly into daily life, religious practice, cultural customs, and moments of personal vulnerability. The objective is not shock but integration. Once integrated, influence becomes far easier and more sustained. Objects are rarely powerful through any inherent quality of their own. Their strength lies in the permissions attached to them. And permission is not always verbal or conscious. It can be emotional, it can be situational. Grief opens doors, celebration opens doors, desperation opens doors, times of transition open doors. Births, funerals, weddings, illness, relocations, financial pressure, and spiritual searching are prime windows of opportunity. These are the moments when gifts arrive most frequently. In the systems I left behind, timing mattered more than the object itself. An item given at the right moment carries exponentially more weight than one given randomly. People also assume that because something was received in a sacred setting or from someone presenting as spiritually authoritative, it must be safe. This assumption is exploited constantly and deliberately. Spiritual language is one of the most effective disguises available because it lowers defenses with extraordinary efficiency. When people stop discerning and begin assuming, monitoring becomes easy and access becomes sustained. Objects can be employed to observe patterns, emotional cycles, prayer habits, relational dynamics, and areas of personal weakness. They become anchors that tie spiritual activity to a specific physical location. This is why some people feel the weight of heaviness only when they are at home, feel restless only at night, or find themselves blocked specifically in certain areas of life. The influence is localized because the access point is localized. Another misunderstanding that creates significant vulnerability is the belief that the intention of the person receiving an item matters more than the intention of the person who prepared it. In spiritual systems that operate by law rather than sentiment, initiation comes from the one who prepares, not the one who receives. A person can be entirely innocent and still be affected. Innocence does not cancel spiritual law. Ignorance does not reverse activation. Many people carry harmful objects for years without understanding why their lives feel stagnant or persistently conflicted. They pray with greater intensity, fast for longer periods, attend more spiritual gatherings, but never address what is physically present in their environment. This creates profound exhaustion. Pressure builds because the environment is actively contradicting the prayer. Light is being invited through words, while darkness is being materially maintained. This contradiction creates an internal tension that expresses itself in specific ways. Dreams become strange and disturbing. Concentration weakens. Motivation drops. Discernment becomes clouded and unreliable. Another tactic that is regularly deployed is emotional attachment. Items are deliberately linked to memories, significant relationships, or important life events, so that removal feels like betrayal, ingratitude, or loss. People are subtly taught to honor objects above their own peace and clarity. In these dark systems, sentimental value is leverage. The longer an object remains in a person's environment, the deeper its integration into their daily rhythms and emotional landscape. It becomes background. It becomes invisible through familiarity. And that is when it works with the greatest effectiveness. Many assignments are slow by deliberate design. They are not constructed to destroy quickly, but to delay gradually and persistently. Delay dreams, delay clarity, delay movement, delay opportunity, delay restoration, delay connection, delay advancement just sufficiently to generate chronic frustration without an obvious identifiable cause. People begin to internalize the failure. They blame their own character, their own capacity, their own faith. That self-directed blame is useful within these dark systems because it weakens resistance and redirects focus away from the actual source of interference. Another pattern worth understanding is the tendency to spiritualize everything except personal responsibility. People want prayer to resolve what removal would solve immediately. They want freedom without the act of separation. They want breakthrough without the establishment of boundaries. In the systems I once operated within, clear boundaries were respected at a level far exceeding any prayer offered without corresponding action. Once an object was removed, the assignment attached to it collapsed. No extended debate, no prolonged campaign of spiritual warfare. Access denied, and the operation was over. This is precisely why fear is routinely used to prevent people from acting with decisiveness. Fear of retaliation, fear of being mistaken, fear of causing offense, fear of appearing foolish or extreme. Fear keeps doors open. Courage and clarity close them. People also consistently underestimate how common these practices are. They imagine complexity and elaborate ceremony where a simple, basic procedure exists. Many operations are entirely straightforward in their design. Prepare an item, attach an assignment, deliver it, observe the effects, maintain the connection when needed. The simplicity is precisely what makes it effective. People are searching for spectacular and obvious manifestations while overlooking subtle but consistent shifts in their experience. A quiet loss of joy, a change in sleep quality, recurring minor disruptions, emotional numbness, persistent low-grade irritation, absence of clear direction. These are early indicators, they are warnings, not definitive conclusions, and they deserve serious attention. Discernment is not paranoia, it is awareness functioning in partnership with wisdom. Healthy discernment does not make accusations against people, it evaluates effects and observations. You do not need to prove someone's intention in order to protect your own space. You only need to honestly observe the fruit of what is present. Peace is a valid and reliable measure. Clarity is a valid measure. Alignment is a valid measure. When something consistently disrupts these three things, it does not belong in your environment, regardless of its appearance, its source, or the story attached to it. Spiritual maturity is not measured by how much you are willing to endure. It is measured by how wisely you guard what has been entrusted to your care. The dark world does not fear loud declarations as much as it fears clean environments. Clean environments offer nothing for darkness to attach itself to. Once awareness is fully restored, action becomes straightforward. Separation restores order, removal restores authority, space clears, atmosphere shifts, the mind settles. Direction returns, not because of superstition, but because access has been formally revoked and what had no right to remain is no longer present. I speak from a clear understanding of how attachment operates and how consistently people underestimate the power of what they permit to remain around them. In the hidden systems I once participated in, nothing survives without reinforcement. Influence must be fed, acknowledged, or at minimum tolerated to continue operating effectively. This is why removal is such a decisive and threatening act against these systems. Many people believe that protection is primarily a matter of adding more declarations, more rituals, more spiritual activity. But in reality, protection often begins with subtraction. What you remove determines what can no longer speak. What you refuse determines what loses its authority over your life. In the world I left, persistence mattered more than intensity. An object did not need to overpower someone. It only needed to stay. Staying allowed it to synchronize with daily routines, habitual patterns, emotional cycles, and spiritual rhythms. Once synchronized, natural resistance weakened. People began to feel tired without identifiable cause, distracted during prayer, restless during rest, numb during moments that should have brought joy. These were not dramatic attacks, but quiet and sustained erosions. That is the preferred method in these systems. Loud chaos attracts attention and investigation. Silent disruption moves unnoticed for years. Many people live with energetic interference across extended periods because it never reaches the threshold of an obvious crisis. It simply dulls life, dulls vision, dulls spiritual hunger, dulls confidence, dulls connection, dulls the clarity that once felt natural. That dullness is productive within dark systems because it keeps people functional yet perpetually stagnant. They survive but do not advance. They exist but do not build. They engage in spiritual practice but do not move forward with any real momentum. Objects play a role in this because they anchor influence within the physical realm. Human beings are embodied physical creatures. What surrounds the body affects the spirit far more profoundly than most people recognize. Smell, touch, sight, placement, proximity, all of these things matter, and all of them are factored into the strategy. This is why certain items are specifically designed to be worn, slept near, placed at entrances, stored beneath beds, concealed in corners, kept in personal bags, or displayed openly in living spaces. Placement determines range, range determines effect. People concentrate on intention while ignoring positioning, and in the systems I once knew, positioning was studied and applied with great care. An object placed where decisions are regularly made influences choices over time. An object placed where rest occurs influences dreams. An object placed where spiritual practice happens influences focus and receptivity. None of this requires the belief of the person being affected. It requires only presence. Another overlooked dynamic is the effect of familiarity. Once something becomes familiar, it becomes effectively invisible. People stop noticing it. They stop questioning its presence or its effects. And that invisibility is when it becomes most effective. Familiarity dissolves vigilance. This is why some people only experience relief when they temporarily leave their home or change their environment for a period of time. The influence is not following them, it is waiting at home for their return. When they come back, the pattern resumes exactly as before. This creates genuine confusion. People assume the problem is internal when it is environmental. They work to address the soul while ignoring the space that surrounds it. In the dark world, environments are cultivated with intentionality. Atmosphere is engineered deliberately. Light disrupts engineered atmospheres, but only when darkness is not being continuously hosted within them. Hosting does not require deliberate worship or conscious agreement. It requires only allowance, and allowance can arise from fear, sentiment, habit, or ignorance. Many people are hosting interference without their knowledge or consent because they have never revoked the access that was established without their awareness. Revocation is an action, not a feeling. It is not sufficient to feel uncomfortable with something. Decisive physical action is what closes the open door. Another manipulation worth naming is the cultural narrative that strength is demonstrated through endurance. People are taught to tolerate what they should have separated from long ago. They are praised for surviving what they should have decisively rejected. Endurance has genuine value in many situations, but endurance of avoidable and sustained interference is not wisdom. It is exposure being misnamed as virtue. In the systems I left, endurance was deliberately cultivated and exploited. The longer someone endured a situation, the more normalized their limitation became. Limitation then shaped identity. Identity shaped decisions. Decisions shaped the entire trajectory of a life, all originating from something small that was permitted to stay long past the point when it should have been removed. People also carry significant misunderstanding about what spiritual cleanliness actually means. It is not perfection, it is clarity. It is the practical wisdom of knowing what belongs in your environment and what does not. It is choosing alignment above attachment. Some objects are not visibly dark in appearance, but are wrong in their assignment and their history. That history matters, that preparation matters, that original intention matters. When something carries a history that conflicts with the direction your life is meant to travel, it creates friction. That friction drains energy. Life begins to require substantially more effort than it should naturally require. Simple things feel heavy. Progress feels forced. Joy feels brief and difficult to sustain. These are signs of misalignment, and misalignment is corrected through removal, not through negotiation or prolonged spiritual engagement with the source of interference. Many people delay action because they require certainty before moving. They want proof. They want external confirmation. They want someone else to validate what their own spirit has already clearly registered. In matters of this nature, delay consistently favors interference. Clarity frequently follows action rather than preceding it. Peace follows decisive obedience rather than extended debate. Another common error is attempting to purify and cleanse what should simply be discarded. Not everything is meant to be retained and purified. Some things are meant to be permanently removed. The attempt to cleanse what should be discarded can maintain the attachment. Attachment maintains access. Access maintains ongoing influence. Simplicity breaks the entire cycle. Complete separation is the most effective and final resolution. In the world I once knew, finality was deeply respected. Once access was completely cut, reassignment of the operation was required, and reassignment demanded significant effort and resources. This is why people who act with decisiveness were treated as unattractive targets in these systems. Indecision was actively preferred and cultivated. The more decisively a person operated, the less susceptible they became to entanglement. Decisiveness signals personal authority, and personal authority disrupts every system built on sustained and unchallenged permission. People who deliberately guard their space, their time, their environment, and their relational boundaries are genuinely difficult to entangle, not because they are aggressive or suspicious, but because they are clear. Clarity leaves very little room for manipulation. When clarity enters a space, confusion departs. When confusion departs, influence weakens. When influence weakens, long-standing patterns break. When patterns break, momentum is restored. When momentum is restored, hope returns. When hope returns, direction becomes visible again. When direction is clear, strength builds. When strength builds, discernment sharpens. And sustained discernment is the foundation of lasting protection. This is not fear-based living, it is awareness-based living. Fear freezes and paralyzes. Awareness assesses and acts. Fear asks, what if? Awareness asks, what belongs here? The question to apply is not whether something is culturally familiar, traditionally accepted, gifted with warmth, financially valuable, or emotionally significant. The question is whether it genuinely aligns with peace, clarity, and forward movement in your life. If it does not, it does not belong in your space. Regardless of its appearance, its origin, or the story surrounding it, holding on to what consistently disrupts your peace is not loyalty. It is not humility. It is not spiritual faithfulness. It is exposure. And exposure extended over time quietly and steadily reshapes outcomes until a person looks back across the years and wonders where the momentum went, why progress slowed so imperceptibly, why joy faded so gradually, why prayer began to feel distant, why rest stopped feeling restorative, why effort began to feel disproportionately heavy, why clarity became rare, why life began to feel paused without any clear explanation. May the eternal bless and guard you. May the light of the divine shine upon you and bring grace into every corner of your life. May the Most High lift the atmosphere around you and grant you a long, clear, and victorious path forward. I will see you in the next video.